VIBErations podcast, episode 49, Sam Barbour. Recorded Wednesday the 17th of May, 2024. Hi, I'm Gary Brightman, and this is my periodic podcast called VIBErations. Established in 2018, Vibe is a book and music shop situated in Moi Wo, on Lantau Island, in Hong Kong. Last weekend, we celebrated our 6th birthday. It was a great day of celebration, with many friends and supporters of Vibe enjoying music from DJ Eclectic Selector, singer Pete Millwood, DJ Matt the Hat, the Pop Fugitives, and your very own DJ Gazim. As I said on the day, and I'd like to reiterate it here, Vibe costs 10,000 Hong Kong dollars a month to run and service the local and wider Hong Kong community. I owe a great debt of gratitude and thanks to 10 special people. Firstly, my Vibe business partner Stephen Walsh, who has tirelessly transformed the local bookshop into a venue for musicians and authors to showcase their creative works. He's built my DJ console, which is used both in-house and external gigs, created the phone box chill-out room for customers to listen to CDs of their choice, a children's area for parents and children to browse and read, and finally, our tribute to Asia's most successful canto pop band, Mirror, and our shrine to them following their TV appearance at Vibe several years ago. As well as the above, we collect money for 2 local charities, Tails, Team for Animals in Lantau South, Dog and Cat Rescue, and for Jean Lung and the Water Buffalo of Lantau. We also allow film students and production teams to shoot at the shop and use Vibe as a film set. Next, there's the volunteers who give up their time to work at Vibe for free. Elaine Gately, Carrie Nicholson, Susan Mertens, Sam Bell and Charlie Walsh. A big thank you to you all. Then there's my dear wife Steph, whose idea it was to take on the shop 6 years ago and has supported us ever since. Last but not least, Dave Bell for sourcing and installing the house PA system, good mate Phil Whelan for taking an early interest in Vibe and introducing me to many great friends, and who, with James Ross, produces the Facebook Live sessions we record on various Saturdays. Together we've recorded 73 gigs, talks and film shoots to date. They can all be viewed on our YouTube channel live at VIBEHK. With our very supportive landlords, we hope to keep running for at least another 6 years. Thank you to all who support us. And so to this week's interview with Sam Barbour. Sam is an award-winning educator, songwriter and children's author from the UK. He has worked as a primary English teacher in Hong Kong since 2007. His successful YouTube channel, Teacher Ham, is now 11 years old, and he published his first children's book, available at Vibe, The Litter Bug, in 2022. As an active songwriter and performer, Sam has released an EP, a debut album, and 2 singles, as well as several albums of children's music and poetry. Notable performances include the H2 Festival, the Irish Festival, the Works on RTHK, the Morning Brew Show, and the World's Big Sleep Out in Hong Kong. His music has been played on BBC Scotland and around the world. His dream is to write music for sync placements in films and TV in Hong Kong and beyond. Welcome to Vibe, Sam.
Thank you, Gary. It's a pleasure to be here today.
What we'll do is we'll go into our 10 warm-up questions. And first question is, favourite musical artists or artists?
I think over the years it's changed slightly, but at the moment I would say my top 3 are really Jerry Rafferty from Scotland, James Taylor from the US, Paul Simon, and also I would say other artists such as Jason Mraz, Jose Gonzalez, these kind of people. But basically those kind of singer-songwriters that have very nice songs written, usually on a guitar with a nice melody.
Yes.
a nice message. People like Cat Stevens as well.
Oh yeah.
I grew up listening to those kind of artists.
Yes.
So they've stuck over the years, and rightly so, because they are timeless, I would say.
Yes. Yeah. Classic
You
artists.
Yeah. My parents had a wide taste in music, so I kind of absorbed that as well.
Do you have a favourite book or author?
To be fair, at the moment, I'm reading a lot of children's books.
Yes.
With being a teacher to primary school students, and also my daughter is very young at the moment, so we're reading lots of books for young children. I think children's books, I would say Roald Dahl is a classic. Is a great favourite of mine. I do enjoy stories by Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Do you have a favourite film or films?
I have a favourite from when I was very young. Yeah, it's a film by Robert Redford. It's called A River Runs Through It.
Oh yeah.
And it has Brad Pitt in it and some other very famous actors. I think Tom Skerritt, he's in it as well. I just love the cinematography.
Yeah.
Where it was filmed, I think it was in Montana.
Do you have a preferred drink?
Drink, yes. I like drinking Chinese tea. I'm a big fan of green tea.
Me too.
I love, in particular, Dragon Well.
Right, yes.
That's my personal favourite, but I'm happy to drink all types of tea. I first fell in love with it when I went to Hangzhou.
Yes.
With my wife.
Same for me, actually. Same for us.
I absolutely loved that trip. We went to the West Lake.
Yes.
On it was a winter trip. It was a Christmas trip. And we went to the tea plantations just outside of the city. Yeah. And I got to sample the tea there, and we bought some tea there. It was absolutely wonderful.
Longines and stuff, isn't it?
Actually, it's such a pretty place in all seasons.
Yes.
We went the following summer. And then you can really see the contrast. There was snow in and around the lake when we went there in the winter, but then in the summer it's very hot.
Yes.
But you're underneath those trees, those long, wavy trees, and it's very comfortable. It's just nice and windy. It's a perfect place to, I would say, sit and write a song there, or read a book.
Yeah, inspiring.
It's lovely. Yeah, it's a very romantic place. My wife and I enjoyed that.
Do you have a life motto?
I do. I tell myself every morning, be good, be kind, be happy, and enjoy life. Those things really. I tell myself, giving some positivity.
Good role models for them.
And it's a very nice school where I work, and I've been lucky to have been there for many years, and we've built up a good relationship. So,
Are you allowed to mention the school, or?
Yeah, sure. I can mention it. It's called Buddhist Lim Kim Tian Memorial Primary School. It's a primary school based in Kwai Fong. Okay. And I've been there since 2009 as a net teacher. Primary net teacher.
Right. Yeah. So excellent.
My pleasure to have been there so long. So, I've enjoyed every minute, actually. The time goes very quick.
Do you have a favourite Hong Kong walk?
I have a couple, actually. I would say, for one, the walk in Mui Wo from the kind of where the ferry is down to the Silver Mine hotel area, around up to the waterfall.
It is a lovely walk.
It's so nice, and it's varied from season to season, and you've got the nice promenade under the trees with the sea on one side, and then you get into the hills and the mountains, and it's very pretty.
It is beautiful, isn't it?
I love that walk. I also enjoy walking along the promenade in Tsim Sha Tsui. Right down, towards Hong Hom.
Yeah, they've really improved that, haven't they, over the years? I think the Avenue of Stars and beyond.
It's beautiful, especially at night as well. It's a completely different view at night as well.
Yeah, and it sort of celebrates Hong Kong, doesn't it? You feel like that's the epitome of Hong Kong, isn't it? Or Hong Kongness to everybody. Yeah. And so, do you have a favourite restaurant in Hong Kong?
Oh, this is very difficult, because Hong Kong is famed for its cuisine. Yeah, rightly so, because
we're spoiled, aren't we?
Hong Kong is really a hub for food, and I've been blessed over the years that I've been able to try different types of food from different cultures in Hong Kong. So it's very difficult to say. I mean, I do like different types of food as well. So, I mean, I love Cantonese food. I love the soup. I love the local dishes. And I also like Western food and different South Asian foods as well. Japanese food, Korean food.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult, actually.
Yeah.
But if you ask me my favorite restaurant, I would have to say it's my home.
Yeah.
Because my wife is very good at cooking, and we always try to buy the food from the market after work, and I'm not much of a cook, to be honest, but I'll help around the kitchen.
What's the best advice you were given?
I think my father used to tell me quite a lot when I was younger, very young actually, 7, 8, 9 years old. He always used to say, if you can find a job that you enjoy doing, then you've cracked it, basically.
Yes.
You've done. You're successful. So he always tried to encourage me to follow what I love doing, and try to pursue it. And for me that was music. At first, I actually wanted to be a football player when I was very young, and I did some trials with a particular team and stuff. But basically, that was when I was in my teens. But then, the pendulum shifted towards music around the same time, and then I'd always loved music since I was very young. And but at that time, I didn't know that it would be my part of my career.
Finish this sentence. I live in Hong Kong because
I love the city. I love the people here, and I'm happy staying in Hong Kong. I think that you have to love where you live.
Yes.
And if you're lucky enough to, live somewhere like Hong Kong where it offers so much, and I do wake up in the morning, I'm happy to go to work. I'm happy to teach my students. I do feel like I'm lucky. And I love interacting with the local people here. I try to speak a little bit of Cantonese, and the response that you get from the locals when you try to speak is very encouraging. They don't kind of look down on you or anything like that. They try to help you, and I've always found that people in Hong Kong are lovely. Oh yeah.
Do you have a favourite area of Hong Kong?
A favourite area of Hong Kong, I do like visiting places like Cheung Chau. When we've been there, we've had the time to visit Cheung Chau. Mui Wo is beautiful as well. I quite like visiting the quiet areas of Hong Kong, the quieter areas. Normally, I would say the gardens and the parks around Hong Kong are my favourite.
Yes.
Going for a walk.
That's the end of the 10 questions. Can I just ask you where you were brought up and where you were born?
Sure. I was actually born in Harpenden.
Okay.
Which is in Hertfordshire. My mother is from England. My father was from Scotland, and at that time they were living down in Harpenden. My father was working in Stevenage for MFI. MFI, he was the manager there. And I was born there, but then we moved around in and around the area. Wheat Hampstead, Luton, where my brother was born. We lived in Luton for a few years. We used to go and watch Luton as a boy. With my dad on Kenilworth Road. And then we used to go there. I was very young, must have been about 3 or 4 years old. But then my mum was a little bit homesick for the Northwest, which is where she's from. She was born in Blackburn, so we ended up going back to a place called Accrington.
Accrington Stanley.
Accrington Stanley.
And for those that like football, they were one of the oldest teams.
So I lived there for quite a long time. I went to primary school, secondary school, and my college there. So I was around 18 when my dad also decided, I would like to go back to Scotland, because he was a little bit homesick as well. So, because he's from Paisley originally, which is just outside Glasgow. And there's another story there about when he met Jerry Rafferty, actually, and Billy Connolly. Oh my God. But that's another story. But we ended up moving to a place called West Kilbride in Ayrshire. And then that's basically where my mum has been and since. And I went on to study university in Edinburgh. I studied in Edinburgh for 4 years. I did a degree in classical music. Studied classical guitar as a major. and voice as a secondary instrument. And then
Yeah.
after my degree, then basically I came to Hong Kong.
Right.
You know, within a month of graduation, I'd already secured a job for the year to teach in Hong Kong, just to try it out, you know, just
Okay.
to try the life. And because I was a little bit after studying music for so long, for 4 years, it was a great course, and I studied under great teachers. You know, I loved it. I loved every minute, but I was a little bit jaded.
Yes.
And I wanted to have a break from practicing, so I decided I might not go down the route that most of my friends were going down, which was to study to be a secondary school music teacher in Edinburgh and become a teacher in and around the city. So I thought, well, if I do that, I would like to try maybe a year of working abroad. So I just thought, okay, just try Hong Kong, and there was some opportunities to teach in the city, and then I got a place to do a 1 year graduate program for primary teaching, and so that was my introduction to the city. Actually, so.
But why Hong Kong? It's not an obvious choice.
Yeah, actually, I was dating a girl from Hong Kong at the time,
right?
And then that was the kind of introduction into the city.
Yes,
and then
gotcha.
I thought, okay, I'll try and see what Hong Kong is like, and whether I like it. And the first year was a little bit difficult, actually. It was quite a big culture shock.
Yeah.
Edinburgh is quite a small city.
Yeah, it's a
population-wise.
beautiful city.
It's beautiful. Yeah,
I love Edinburgh.
It's quite different from Hong Kong, though.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're a student, and then going from a student to like full-time work in a city primary school, so it was quite a big difference.
Yeah, that in itself is a big enough jump, isn't it, to take your first full-time job, for it not to be in a country that you know well. And you lived in the length and breadth of Britain, really, in the UK, and then transplant over to a different type of rain than Edinburgh gives, that drizzle and that driving rain. Here we've got this subtropical rain and heat. It was a massive change.
It was a big change, actually. So I enjoyed the job, and it was an introduction to teaching in Hong Kong and the city, and the people, the food, the language, and everything. So,
what year would that have been?
That was in 2007.
Okay.
So I graduated in July, and then by August I was already in the city in Hong Kong, and I started my induction at the primary school. It was through an NGO. It's called Chatteris, actually. They recruit kind of fresh graduates and offer training and placements within primary schools, secondary schools, and also tertiary level. So I was asked which one I would like to choose, and I just thought, well, I'll just try primary first. So then it went from there then, and I just settled into the school. I met the net teacher and the teachers, and I was given duties, and but I didn't really have any teaching experience at that time. I was 24 at that time. I'd finished my degree, but I didn't do any teacher training, so it was just
it's in at the deep end,
couple of TEFL courses. It was quite. I think that the great terror, I would say, is going into a classroom and not being prepared. That was my greatest worry. So and at first, when you're not experienced in teaching, you don't know what to prepare as well. So you got through the lesson, but then you've got time at the end of the lesson. You've got quite a bit of time, and you really got no other ideas. So, I've been in that boat as well, and it's quite scary, actually, because you've got all these eyes looking at you, and they're waiting for your instruction, and
the responsibility, haven't you, to those children.
It's an amazing profession, though, because I treat it a bit like a performance, like a stage. So I go into the classroom, and you've got your various realia. You've got your props, you've got your guitar, you've got your lesson plans and PowerPoints and what have you. I often look at teaching as a show for the students, especially as English as a foreign language, a second language for students that are perhaps not so familiar with the language. They're looking for other cues, other hooks into the language. So songs are really good in that sense. Poems, chants, visuals, games, which get their kind of full response. They're standing up, playing games and stuff like that. So I really try to engage them with humour. Especially
it was a great way to get through to people.
And just try to have that compassion with them and a bit of banter really with the students, and they treat you. They do respect you as a teacher, but you're almost like an uncle or something like that.
Yes. What sort of age group are we talking about in terms of?
I've predominantly taught primary school KS1.
Okay.
So talking from 6 years old up to 8-9 years old, P1 to P3. I did teach a year in kindergarten before I came to my primary school. That was also a wonderful experience. Teaching the very young students K1 to K3. So 3-4
that
years
must
old.
be. I can't even imagine. I love kids and I love kids of that age, but God, the chaos it was.
I mean, it was funny looking back because they're not scared of you. You're a complete stranger in the classroom, and it takes a couple of months to get them warmed up. But once they get warmed up, basically they were jumping on my back by the end of the year and climbing up on my back and and carrying them and just having a lot of fun with them, and it was really nice. I think that year inspired me to about teaching, and it made me kind of think, actually teaching is a good profession to do when you see the impact that you're having on them. And I do feel Hong Kong has a great tradition of, perhaps it's the culture, Confucianism, or that respect for the elders, the teachers. And I've always felt that, and I've always felt that respect from the students and fellow peers, in the school. And I've done all my teacher training in Hong Kong. I did my PGD at Hong Kong U.
Okay.
And so I've kind of, once I graduated, I've set up stall in Hong Kong, really, if you will, and I've done all my training here. So I couldn't really speak about the education system in the UK, to be honest, because I've never actually taught there. I did a couple of small classes, guitar classes, as a student, in local school. But I think that in Hong Kong, certainly the students do have a respect for the teacher, and a willingness as well, and being a novelty as well, being a foreign language teacher. Is some sort of it's quite different, I mean, where I work in Kwai Fong, 15 years ago is quite different. It was different to what it is now. And I'm sure there's a lot more foreigners in Kwai Fong now, but when I walked through the kind of estate, Kwai Fong estate, when I was buying lunch or what have you, then people would definitely, out of curiosity, they would just look at you. It's not really being rude or anything.
Not in a bad way.
But they would speak
in a curious way.
And then they kind of chat with you, and then you try to reply. Of course, I couldn't understand at that point, but I tried to reply, and then, before you know it, you can string a few words together, and a smile can open doors. So before you know it, you see them regularly and wave and that kind of thing. And
Kwai Fong is a very sort of urban area, isn't it? The other side of the container port, there's sort of plenty of sort of warehouses and logistics places, as well as that sort of urban sprawl there. And so it is very local, as we would say. So you came here, like a lot of people come here, I guess, that end up falling in love with Hong Kong for a year, or sometimes it's 2 years for people, and then you obviously, to a point in time, you thought, okay, I like this place enough to stay here for longer. Do you extend that as you go along, or have you now turned that corner and said, okay, from X number of years ago, I knew this was the place?
I think there came a period when I was flying back to Hong Kong from the UK from a summer holiday, and it was a case of, I'm actually coming back home.
You're going home,
as well. You know, it's
Yes.
strange to say that, but of course I
it's
I
not.
always regard
That's
you know
what we had.
Scotland as my home, but
Yeah.
my mum is there. You know, my family is there, but coming back to Hong Kong doesn't seem like it's a foreign place to me.
Yes.
It also
Yes.
feels like home. I've been here for 17 years, so
Yeah.
I've permanent residency here.
Yeah.
My daughter was born here. I was married in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I've worked here at the school for 15 years at this school, so
Yeah.
you know, I feel like I'm settled.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
and,
For sure.
You know, and getting
Yeah.
to grips with Cantonese as well, so I can speak a little bit. But
Yeah.
not perfectly, but
Yeah.
so you know, yeah, I feel like we don't have any immediate plans for the future to say, right, we're going to leave or we're going to do this or do that, because we regard Hong Kong as our home.
Yeah.
So we're just
Yeah.
happy to
Be here and live a good life.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
try to do the best that we can every day, and then
Yeah.
and before you know it, the time goes really quick. Actually.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Okay. So, what about Sam Barbour, the musician? You've done a few gigs around town and things that now. I mean, how has your sort of music career gone alongside your teaching career here? How's that developed?
I've been really blessed. I think I'm very grateful to the support of
Yeah.
people like yourself. You know, offering opportunities to perform, share music in Hong Kong, and over the years I've performed at different venues in the city.
Yeah.
And it, you know, at first it came about writing songs for students in the classroom
Right.
to try and help them with English. You know, perhaps changing the lyrics of a nursery rhyme so they've got that common melody, but then
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
it was actually my wife. She encouraged me, and
Yeah.
she said, "How about you try to step out of your comfort zone and write an original melody for the students?"
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
you know, the lyrics were fine because you were writing different lyrics, but melody is something different. And she heard something
sure.
that I'd written before, you know, many years prior. It was a little song called "Far Across the Night Sky," which I
Right.
wrote for children. It was actually based
Okay.
on Peter Pan. It's
Right.
about flying to Neverland and never growing
So-
old and that kind of thing.
Yes,
You know, and it was
yeah.
just a very rough demo. And then she heard it and she said, "Oh, actually, this is actually quite good. You should think about recording it in the studio." So
Yeah.
that was the first step of consciously thinking, okay, I'll try and do something else
Yes,
with it, do
yeah.
something more with it. So I contacted a studio in Hong Kong
Okay.
and went down to record the song, and it turned out really well. I was really happy with it, and it, you know, from there you kind of get a momentum,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then it built up from there. Then,
Yeah.
and I started to write. I'd been writing songs on my own like since I was 15 or so, but not
Yeah.
really very seriously, I would say.
Yes. Yeah.
But the students gave me a focus to write for them. But then I just tried to. I also thought, okay, how about I write something for myself as well,
Yes,
like adult songs,
yeah.
so-called adult songs, and then the two kind of ran along together
Yes.
and complemented each other actually.
Yeah.
And sometimes my students listen to my so-called adult songs as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like they'll just listen to one
Yeah.
stream. They you know, intertwine actually
Yes. Yeah.
along the road. So.
And how long has this been happening for? Is this a few years, last few years, or longer? Or?
Yeah, I think really the last kind of eight years or so, I would say,
Yeah.
there's been quite a lot of developments in the terms of the originality of the things that I'm producing. So whether it's at school an original play for the students, a story, a drama script,
Yeah.
complete with the songs that actually co-write with my wife.
Yeah,
you know,
oh,
we
brilliant.
often have ideas together,
Yeah.
and then the songs, when I've got some spare time, I will write those as well. And
Yeah.
then it's a bit like a muscle memory exercise. I think if you practice more, it gets better, or it gets
Yes.
more fluid, and then you can actually access the ideas quicker.
Yeah.
That space is open when you're writing. If you're practicing more, and then you're in that kind of zone, if you will,
yes.
and then the
Yeah.
songs can come. I think it's about confidence as well.
Yeah.
About
Yes.
thinking
very
that you
much.
can do it and it is possible. And then the real beauty is when you share it out.
Yeah.
You know, when
Yeah.
you share the song out, and in the classroom, is always a fun activity. Sometimes the students will say, "Nope, I don't like that." You know.
Brilliant. Well, Hong Kongers are very honest and direct, I think, aren't they? So you know where you are with people.
Yeah, and it's great,
good.
you know, because sometimes
Yeah.
songs have like fallen,
Yeah.
fallen on the floor.
Flat on their face.
It's fine, you know, because you go away and
Yeah.
you think, okay, what was wrong with that? Oh, this or that, and then you try and tweak it a little
Yeah.
bit, but then sometimes if it sticks and they like it, they will absorb it very quickly.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been very lucky that a lot of people in Hong Kong have supported the journey as well by
Yes.
saying, oh, that song sounds nice, or I enjoyed this or that, and then that connection with people inspires you to try to write something else, and I never see it as a job.
Yeah.
Or it's always a pleasure to try
Yes.
and write something, and that's what I'm always trying to do, is write something a
Yeah.
little bit better than the last time.
Yeah.
Original songs,
Yeah.
original melodies, original lyrics. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, from your back to your educational days, you're doing exactly what you wanted to do, as your father said to you, and those two diverging of those two careers now, is really just sort of fleshing out and getting more fruit on it. And
Yeah.
so you've done a few gigs around town, I think. Was it Central Market you did a gig?
Yeah, I've played I previously played at the H2, the music festival.
Yes.
I've played down at the Harbour Front for the World's Big Sleep Out. That was amazing, actually. 2019.
Right.
There was a big event across the world, actually. The World's Big Sleep Out, which was encouraging people to think more about homelessness.
Right.
And
Oh,
then,
yes.
and I actually had a song called Street Sleeper, which I wrote. I didn't write it for that event, but I was also a bit. I was shocked, actually. When I've been on trips to like places like Australia, back to Scotland, and I see homelessness.
Yes.
Close up on the streets and things like that, and then I was inspired to write a song called Street Sleeper,
Okay.
which is is modelled on a bit like The Boxer.
Okay.
by
Simon and Garfunkel. What a great song
that
is.
kind of feel,
Yeah.
And then it so happened that year there was an event in December. It was actually on my birthday, the 7th of December, and I got in touch with the man that was organising the event, Jeff Rottmeyer.
Okay. Yes.
Impact
I've heard Jeff.
HK and
Yeah.
Love 21 Foundation, all these amazing charities that he's developed, and he said, how about you come and play the song at the event? So that was a nice moment, to share that.
Yeah.
And other gigs as well around town. I'm playing.
Yeah.
I'm happy to play at Vibe on the 1st of June.
Yes.
Here, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to hearing you here.
The following week, I'm playing with Black Velvet Collective.
Yes.
At Museum Cafe 8.
Yes,
Central.
yes. They do a lot of gigs, I think, around there. Mark Rawson we know very well, and in fact, Black Velvet are performing the same day.
That's right.
With them that
on the 8th,
evening.
And I'm playing. I'm co-organising a festival in Scotland in the summer when we go back for our summer trip. It's in Ayr, so it's in Ayrshire.
Yeah.
It's in a music venue. There's a well-known music venue called Venue 38.
Right.
And I'm co-organising with my friend and producer, actually. He's called Stevie Bull, and another artist called Nathan McDermott. We're co-organising this thing where we're asking different artists from, predominantly Ayrshire or kind of nearby areas in Scotland to come and share their music, across this whole day of music. So it's going to be a nice activity. I can meet some new people and learn from them, and they can also interact with each other. And, so we're looking forward to that as well. So that's excellent. That's our first time to try this. I think very much inspired by, the H2 and also the Irish Festival in March, which I was lucky to play that as well. That was a great event. So
and you've done a bit on RTHK as well, haven't you? On the radio.
I've been a regular guest
channel.
on the Morning Brew show. I've played on The Works as well a couple of years ago, I wrote a song called Let's Join Hands, which was a song about the healthcare workers around the world for, dealing with COVID. And it was just my tribute tribute to them and with this song. And then the organisers at the Works, they actually contacted me and said, we'd heard about your music because of Street Sleeper. Would you like to come and play? And I said, yeah, actually, I have a new song if you're interested. So I ended up playing Let's Join Hands on that show.
Okay.
And then that was in 2020. Yeah. That was in the summer, in June. Yeah.
So if people want to access and listen to your music, what should they do? Where should they go?
I think that my music is available on all channels. Apple Music, Spotify. I also have a YouTube channel which is quite popular in Hong Kong and actually overseas as well. It's called Teacher Ham. It's my educational channel.
Yes.
And I have a lot of videos for children, songs for them, but also I also put my adult music there as well.
Okay.
So it's a nice place to access. But
all right.
I'm active on Facebook, IG as Sam Barbour Music. That's my title on those socials. And then you've got Teacher Ham, so you've got like two streams, Teacher Ham and Sam Barbour Music.
Well, we'll put those at the end of the podcast on YouTube so people can click on the links for that. And we look forward to having you here on the 1st of June.
Yes, looking forward
for a live gig here at Vibe. And,
absolutely, it's a very nice place, and encourage everyone that is on the island or thinking to come out for the day to pop into Vibe. It's really a lovely place.
Thank you. All right, so that remains for me to say, Sam Barbour, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you, Gary. It's my pleasure. All the best.
You can listen to all our VIBErations podcasts published on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Amazon Music, TuneIn and Alexa, Stitcher, Listen Notes, Player FM, SoundCloud and a few others. Or you can watch on our YouTube channel under Live at VIBEHK, or follow the links from my website at vibehk.com. The opening and closing music comes from Celestial and is called Green Island Dub and is on the Retrospect vinyl album, on sale at Vibe. Finally, a reminder that Vibe is open 7 days a week, every day of the year from 12 noon until approximately 6:30 p.m. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for listening to the 49th Vibe Book and Music Shop podcast called VIBErations. I'm Gary Brightman. You get my vibe?
Can you imagine what this old island must have looked like to those Dutch sailors when they first saw it? Fresh green. Like a dream of a new world.
They must have held their breath. Afraid it would disappear before they could touch it.